So the FIFA Pro World 11 nominations have come out, and my god, they are horrible. I really want to know who and how they come up with these nominations, because god, this is a shit show. Starting off with goalkeepers, I'm okay with the goalkeepers. You got Mendy, Donnarumma, and Alisson. It's obviously going to be between Mendy and Donnarumma. It should be Mendy, but considering how all the other nominations are done of just who's the bigger name, Donnarumma will 100% be selected, even though he shouldn't. He's the second best goalkeeper in the world. But hey, whatever. Now onto the shit picks. Into defenders first. You have 10 years ago. There's no problem with this. You regard them as the best fullbacks in the world. Dani Alves and Jordi Alba. But 2021, how the hell have they been selected? Jesus Christ. First of all, Dani Alves, not even in Europe. How can you be regarded as one of the best defenders in the world when you're not going up against good players? Obviously, in Brazil and in Dani Alves' league, those Brazilian players, they're obviously very good. They're a million times better than the average person. But compared to European clubs and competitions, they're shit. They're shit. So why should a very old player who's been doing well over in Brazil be nominated over players who've been doing very well in Europe against tough competition? Doesn't make sense. And then Jordi Alba, I'll get more into the Barcelona aspect of it, but here's a player that, first of all, has been dropped throughout the year, for not because of injury or anything, but because he wasn't playing good enough, and there was someone who played better than him. So I don't know how that makes him one of the best defenders in the world. But I mean, if you want to go, what's the most notable moment for the entire season from Jordi Alba? Him losing 8-2. Him conceding all those goals. So that's all I'm gonna say. And last thing to note about the defenders, think about this year so far. Who's had the best defense in the entire world in Europe? Who's had the most clean sheets, conceded the least amount of goals? There's a few teams up there, and the team that had the best defense and was the most winningest was Chelsea. Guess how many Chelsea defenders were nominated? 0 Chelsea defenders were nominated, even though we had the best defense in the world. Explain that, please. Like, if you're gonna say, oh, but I don't even know what you could say to argue that, but like, if you're gonna have one of them, you have to have Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva was a must for this, and the fact that he hasn't been nominated just shows you how shit this is. But whatever, because he's not as big a name as Dani Alves and Jordi Alba, that means he's not. That means he's worse for some reason. I don't know. On to the midfielders now, and this is where I will explain my Barcelona aspect of this. Because you have Jordi Alba, Busquets, De Jong, all nominated, Busquets and De Jong in the midfielders section. The only player from Barcelona that should be given a shout of praise for this year has been Messi, and he isn't even at Barcelona anymore. Barcelona have not done well. You can't underperform and just say, oh, I was having a bad year though, I'm still a better player than those guys. Yes, you can say that, but for a nomination of how you performed in a year, why are there Barcelona players though? Why? It just doesn't make sense. They haven't performed well, so how are you nominated for playing the best of the year? Oh, it hurts. And another one that I want to talk about, similarly to Chelsea, of best defense in Europe, best defense in the world, doesn't get any defenders nominated. one of the best teams in the world was Manchester City. They won the Premier League by a comfortable margin. They were finalists in the Champions League, and De Bruyne was only nominated. The only Manchester City player nominated was De Bruyne. It's like this nominations was purely based off names. Whose name holds big value, who can random players look on FIFA and go, oh yeah, I know that player. He's big name. When you think of Manchester City, most people will go, oh yeah, De Bruyne. That's the only person they can name because no one gives any other City players credit at all. It's just dumb. It's just weird because, hey, one of the best teams in the world apparently only has one good player. Okay, make that make sense. And the last one that I want to talk about with the attackers. First of all, you've got Neymar there. Again, obviously it's a big name. It's not like Neymar played shit this year, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great this year. It wasn't his best ones. Like, his name holds value. That's purely all it is. There's no substance behind it other than, oh look, it's Neymar. And the big one who's not there is Mo Salah. How? Probably for half of the year this season, the best player in the world has been Mo Salah. The best player in the world on form has been Mo Salah. That's probably a fact. Probably a fact. And yet he's not there. It's not like last season he was shit. It wasn't like he was the best player on form in the world. But I don't understand why he's not nominated when for half of the year he's been the best player in the world. Doesn't make sense. And then you can go, yeah, but that's only half of the year. Why is Benzema there then? Why is Benzema there? Benzema has only been, ironically, he's only been called underrated by everyone this season. To start this year, Benzema started so hot. He's started brilliantly. Last year, you mention his name, no one says anything about it. This year, he's getting rated, and guess what? He was nominated. So for someone who had a really good half a year that wasn't as good as Mo Salah's peak, how is he nominated over Salah? Doesn't make sense. But when you look at it, it does make sense in the terms of, like I've been saying, the nominations are purely who's the most noteworthy, who's the most known players, the big names. Big names are the only ones being nominated. No one cares about form of who's actually been playing well, it's just, hey, who are the big names? Ah, God. This hurts my brain to look at.